The North Inlet, and you definitely can see the phosphate load rolling into Thunder Lake. I mean, this is really thick brown water. You can see the break between clear water and the mud water coming in here. I mean, this is really bad. So we got a tremendous amount of erosion still occurring above this inlet that we need to see what we can do with. There's quite a line of distinction there between the clear and the mud water coming in here. I mean, this is really muddy. Had an inch of rain in about an hour, and this is Gould's driveway, and as we swing around here, you can just see the water pouring down through the woods. That's not even a stream, that's just the woods up on Dave K's lot. This culvert's doing fine. The first one going across Dave K's. Coming out the other side. It's murky, but not muddy, real muddy, just small amount of silt. It's about 3/4 full right now. Probably, it's not raining right now, so it probably was pretty close to full before. But with this 3/4 full, we got water running across the road down here. Now that could just be a dam up in the brush there. I don't know. Stream, this one's really muddy. This is not in line with a culvert, but it's in line where the water is going over the road. And that's just water coming down out of the woods. This is full of silt. Very brown. Filtration at work here. They're slowing things down. You can hear the water pouring out of the culvert behind me. Creek running into the culvert, the one that usually flows. And there's the culvert there. I don't think this water over here looks quite as bad as what's coming down the other stream. Water flowing through the woods today, and this is just an example of why you want to leave your land natural. Let all this water go into these little pockets. Have it filter into the ground instead of bringing brown water into our lake. You know, leaving all this debris in your lot is a good thing. There's some water flowing here, and this water, as it flows down, again gets to settle and move across the land before it heads on down to our road. And see how nice and clean this water is, having all these paths to travel and dropping out the, you know, slowing down the flow and keeping the amount of erosion down so that it all doesn't end up in the lake. About an hour since the main rainstorm now. And looking here, the stream to the right, that side of the stream is pretty clear. If you look over to the other side there, it's pretty mucky yet. Of course, this would have been much muddier a half an hour ago. I'm walking up towards the RV club now, just trying to see where the source of this mud is coming. A lot of it, I believe, is just land erosion here. But you can see there's some pooling here. This is all good spots, and this is what we're going to have to create over here if we really want to stop the mud from going into the lake. Places for it to settle out. Up through here, the stream to the left is the one that lines up to the culvert. This one here in front of me is the one that hits the road ditch first and then goes over to the culvert. So this is kind of the divide and a little island here. And you can see the main part of the stream is pretty muddy, so I'm in search of that mud. Up the stream and now a ways, and it's now pretty much all the water seems to be captivated into this one stream now. Crossing a little roadway up here on the top of, or probably above Dave K's property now. It's an old farm road that cuts across here. Water is still pretty muddy. What's coming in from the farm road is fairly clear, but you can see the potential when it was really running for some erosion there. Split the stream. This left side goes over towards the ATV club, and it's fairly clear. This stream to the right is quite muddy, and that's heading up towards the road. Maybe we'll see what we got when we get there. The stream is getting less muddy now. I'm almost up to the opening at the RV, right between the RV club and the road. The water's a little turbid, but not really heavily so, but of course it's not raining right now either. Up at the ATV club, and the water's pretty clear here. I think I'm almost to the drop-in that comes under the road to give you an orientation of where I am. And the ATV club has pretty well stopped all their shenanigans up here in our watershed. And I don't think they're really contributing anymore like when this was all dug up and made into dirt track over here. So most of our erosion is coming to the south of me here now. You can see the, but of course I didn't get up here quick enough to see where the mud was really originating, but it got worse, still was getting worse as it got down towards our property, just running across the land. This is pretty nice filtration here. This is up in this brush is where the creek comes under the road and goes through some real nice cattails here. Little sediment pond here. Maybe these guys built this, I don't know. It runs down through all this grass and brush. Pretty good here, about the best you could expect. The water coming under the road, nice and clear. Of course it might not have been earlier. It goes down through that brush and cattails and stuff I was telling you about. This is ideal up here. I'm at the culvert now on Wiley Road. Good clear water. Across the road is a new drive, but that water all runs down the hill. It doesn't affect our lake because our DI is right about here. So we're taking our watershed. It goes up to the top of the hill there. And that's the water coming into the lake here. The entire lake, just by that white marker where the drop-in is to go into the road. And see, this is an ideal ditch. It's got lots of grass in it. They're keeping it mowed to keep the brush out. The town is. They just did it. Well, this is pretty good drainage. And they seem to have slowed down on the horses up here. But you can see the crest of the hill up there. That's where our watershed would start and come all the way down the road here and across. This multiflora rose, how thick that's getting. And this is an invasive plant. Some of you have it along the road in front of your properties. You should get rid of it. It's going to get so thick like this in our woods that you can't even walk through it. And I've been in places in Pennsylvania where we had to quit hunting because there was no way to walk through the woods anymore. A single plant looks like. You got the vegetation around here, and then here's a multiflora rose cropped up, and then this is just going to spread and spread and spread. Multiflora rose. Gets little white flowers. You all see it along our road. In an hour and a half since the rain now, you can see the streams are clearing up, but I guess I have to agree with Officer Templeton. It's our own erosion along the creek channel, like over here on the bank, and as it cuts down through this deep channel is where it's really digging up the mud. I can't conclude that it's really coming from any place else. Where all the silt is settled in, and you can see where the mud's been torn up here. That's really the cause. The only thing we could do is try to separate this flow of water into several different flows or something further upstream and cut down the volume of water coming down through this area. You get all this silt here in the stream bed. Now some of this could have been brought here from when they had the ATV track located closer to our property. But don't know for real, but it's definitely being produced on Thunder Lake property and Thunder Lake residence property. This is where the other stream came gushing down the hill that actually made water go over the road a little bit. But I told you the water was much clearer on that tributary, and I mean there was a lot of water. I want you to look at the difference of what this is flowing through here. The water is being spread out all over the place here. A log here and there, a hole in the soil, stumps, all these things help to slow the water down so it doesn't tear up the soil, and then there's a nice coverage of soil. So as we develop our properties, that water flow comes all the way up through it there. As we develop our properties, it might behoove you not to clean your woods out, clean up all the down logs and all that stuff, because they all help the water to slow down and to be absorbed into the land before it hits our lake, and slows it down enough that it doesn't erode the soil and increase our phosphate load. So keep that in mind as you're maintaining your properties, that actually a natural wood is much better than a pretty woods. And leave the stuff lay on your property, and let Mother Nature do its job of preventing erosion. Typical erosion point is a new road, and you can bring in lots of soil that way because there's nothing to slow the water down. And you'll notice that the old farmers, when they put these roads in, just to protect the roads, but also it unknowingly helped the water flow stay clear, as they would put small swales across the roads when they're going down a hill like this, something that they can bump over with their tractor, but would take the water at intermediate places and spread it back onto the forest floor and prevent this erosion into going down the road, and also prevent damage to the road.